One thing we haven't quite talked about is the camera upgrade on the Pro and Pro Max. Historically, camera upgrades are important. How important are they this time around for Apple?
While predictable, they're a very popular feature with consumers. They're looking for better cameras, and this time we have the opportunity to get a hardware-based sensor option combined with AI software, so we expect it's going to be a big leap in performance and perhaps what all the Wonderlust is all about.
Caroline and I have been very busy for the last 7 days talking about what's happening in China. Bloomberg reported that China's central government is expanding a clampdown on the use of foreign handsets, in particular iPhone, for government agencies and state-backed enterprises. Is that a concern ahead of a big launch of a next-gen iPhone for Apple?
You know, we see it's still posturing right now. We think it's a long way from a wholesale ban on Apple tech in China, but it is concerning because it starts with the government and then it could roll into government-owned companies or government, shall we say, government-controlled companies. So there's a lot of opportunity and risk associated with this right now, but I think it's still too early to call it as an issue for iPhone sales in the near term.
In the near term, then, is the US economy an issue? Or do you think that everyone is willing to continue to pay up for a more high functioning and indeed lighter device, even though the price point just keeps on getting higher?
I think where we are in the market right now is that Apple is really targeting a premium consumer, an aspirational consumer, and they are still willing to pay for these device upgrades. We're expecting that there's going to be a price increase on the Pro Max, but we also expect that that premium aspirational buyer will be willing to pay that. The real risk for Apple is if they do not have a set of smaller, cheaper product category, do they cede share to someone else in the market? And I think their perspective is, we don't really care. We want the premium buyer. We want the higher margin.
Okay, what about, the competitive space that is wearables as well? How much focus do we give the watch in the announcements?
I think the watch is something that we have continued to wait for that big bang on, and it's only broken through a certain set of the consumer base. What I do think will happen is that watch buyers are very attracted to this product and will continue to buy upgrades to this product because it is part of their overarching health and fitness goal. The big question is, can we get new markets into it? They've made a play for the elder population, and a lot of people have bought these devices for their family members. We still see opportunity there. There is still actually opportunity for the wearable in the workplace, particularly as we look at first-line workers, where it can actually provide quite a bit of health and safety. We've really not seen any penetration in that market, so it could be that 2024 is the year that we start to see the watch get better enterprise play as well.
Maribel, the kind of other bucket of things we expect are a move to USB-C, USB-C going into the Pro AirPods, and then some kind of, the watch changes that we just outlined. How much importance do you place on the other bucket that we just talked about?
I think the other bucket is a nice to have. They'd still sell the products without the USB-C, but having said that, there are regulations that have been proposed that they need to address. And if you're going to do it in one region, you have to do that in all regions. We think it's going to be really good for consumers. It's really going to open up the ecosystem to a wide range of companies that already have USB-C product. So that is going to be good for Apple and good for the people that build around the smartphone, smartwatch ecosystem.
Maribel, there's a piece of data. It's been stuck in my head for a few days now. Tim Cook talked about several quarters of slowdown in the US smartphone market, 3 straight quarters of sales declines for Apple. But if you look at IDC, in that period, particularly the second quarter, they grew market share, even in a market that's pulling back against Samsung. What does that tell you, Apple's ability to gain market share?
They've had tremendous resilience in what's been looking like a major smartphone slowdown / smartphone winter, similar to what we've seen in the PC market. There could be double-digit declines that continue on, but what we're seeing happening with Apple is the strength of the Apple ecosystem in terms of the applications and in terms of the cool factor has really kept them in this more resilient position. We expect that since they're the only provider of iOS software right now, that they're going to have strength through the next several quarters, despite it being a difficult market. Perhaps not as strong as we would all like to see them perform, but I still think they'll do well compared to the market at large.
Maribel, do they need to remind us of the Vision Pro and the cool factor there?
They do, but the reality is it still seems like that being a market that's going to really add top line and bottom line dollars to Apple is still quite a few quarters away. I think they'll talk about it so that they can keep the momentum alive and get people thinking about it for 24 buys, but I'm not sure it's going to be a big year for that this coming year.
And lastly, I mean, what everyone has waited for a void to be filled by Apple is what they're going to be doing about artificial intelligence, how they're going to be interweaving that within its services. You really talk about the power of the Apple ecosystem. Within that, I think fintech, but I also think Siri, and I think about the ways that ultimately generative AI might up the ante. Are you waiting for that moment?
I think we're already starting to see that moment. We're seeing it in software that's being built. We're seeing it in the chipsets that Apple provides. And back on the earlier discussion about the chipset, this has been a big push and concern for Apple. And being able to control at least some of the hardware behind that allows them to be better positioned to actually embrace this Gen AI wave that is really rushing over us at this point in time. So I think that they'll have a strong showing in AI-related products as a result of the power of the processor. And it's one of the things that keeps the phone expensive, but it's also one of the things that keeps the phone interesting.